Hello everyone. I think I managed to start the stream, hopefully. Um, the funny thing is that I've been blah-blahing already for like 5 minutes because I didn't realize that I'm not online. So this is actually really cool, which gives me an opportunity to repeat it because first time I wasn't sure what to say and now I just have to repeat what I already figured out before. So welcome to the stream. I expect that there will be not too many viewers, but that's totally okay. I need to make a habit of this, and I know that in these streams we can actually talk about Mautic and we can create some valuable content. So if you are rewatching this stream, then hopefully you found it valuable. Maybe you have questions and you will not miss the next one. I also have to be more regular and do this in a regular basis, maybe have a regular schedule. I did have lots of fun. I think 2 weeks ago we did a stream where I was showing how to migrate from ActiveCampaign, and I figured that there is one thing which I promised a long time ago. It was actually one of my first videos, and I promised that I'm gonna come up with a tip how to capture anything in Mautic, how to capture any data, any webhook in Mautic and use it. And I didn't provide a solution for that since then. So today I'm gonna show you something which I've been building already for half a year approximately. Okay, so let me try to do this. I need some screen management here to make sure that you see the right screens. Okay, this is my screen here. Amazing. Let's put it like this. Cool. I think I also see the chat, so if there are any questions, I'm really happy to answer, or any feedback that, hey, you are, we can see what you're doing, that would be great. So even if you can just give a feedback, hey, the sound is fine, because I have no idea. I haven't done this too much. Last time I did it last June, so let's hope I can make some habit of it this time. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about webhooks, and why webhooks is because that's the primary way to get data into Mautic. And I've seen that many people use different services for this. They're using maybe NA10 or Tape, I think, is the other service, or RedNode or whatever, which are very capable and very cool, and you can do so much more. But my problem is that I don't want to install another service, and I don't want to update other services and software just because I want to get webhook inside of Mautic, because I want to get data. But in order to play nicely with other services, you will need to get the data in somehow. And now with AI and vibe coding, it's super easy just to tell Claude, for example, that, hey Claude, could you please make me a Mautic plugin for Mautic 7, which is able to accept webhooks, and then does this and this to my Mautic. It's great. My fear is that this will happen. And why is it a fear? Because probably soon we're gonna have like 20 different plugins doing the same thing, and another 100 doing almost the same thing, just for Shopify, for an event management platform, or for other whatever service. And that will really suck, because then we're gonna have to test them all and figure out which is the best one for the job, or maybe just tell Claude, hey Claude, look at all these plugins, figure out which one is the best, and then make an ultimate one. I don't know, maybe. But I'm a big fan of building blocks. I'm a big fan of that you can have one generic plugin, and a very good example for that is Kuzmani's tweak templates. I just love that plugin because you can build any kind of script inside of your Mautic. You can get data from all kinds of feeds. You can do a lot of different personalization. You can make tables, and it's a great building. It's a great plugin which lets you build stuff. And regarding the webhooks, I was also thinking we should have a generic solution. Now, first, before I go into this, what I wanted to show you is that Mautic already has an opportunity to capture webhooks. Like it is built in. I'm using, by the way, a white label Mautic 5 at this point, but this plugin which I'm creating, or I created, it will be also available for Mautic 7. Okay, so how to capture a webhook in Mautic. So let's go first. I have here a contact, this example contact. I will delete her. I did a lot of testing. I actually had to rewrite the plugin a couple of places today because it wasn't working. So if it crashes now, it's because I changed it after I tested something successfully and then messed it up. So how to capture any webhook in Mautic. Well, first, how to capture a webhook in Mautic. So I have here, if I go to components and forms, and I would go to a simple form, this can be posted too. So every form is actually a webhook in Mautic. So I can post to this form. What I have to know is what is the form ID, which is 165 in this case. And I have to check what are the attributes here. So one way to do it is I can go back to my simple webhook here, and I can choose self-hosted, and here are all the different field values are available. So I could check here. This is very important. So this is my 165, and I have some Mautic form fields as well somewhere. So if I look here, yeah, I have email. Oops, I can't select it, but maybe you can see it. I have email, and I also have first name. So this is the tricky part here. Mautic form email, that's what my form is looking for, and Mautic form first name with underscore. So it's here, this one. This is how you can post to a webhook. So if I would translate this into a payload, now this I'm gonna test today with this tool called Postman. It's free to use for teams of one. And if you have a bigger team, then you have to pay. But all you have to do is you take your submit URL. I hope this is visible. You take your submit URL, and then you take your form fields. So in my case, that would be, wait, I'm going to try to make this bigger. Let's make the description smaller. We don't really need it. Oh, man. Oops. Let's make this one smaller. Description. Value. Okay. So, like you said, like I showed you, we need Mautic form email, we need Mautic form first name, and we need Mautic form ID. These are the information what we need, and we're just gonna do a post here on our. It's just a generic endpoint which says form submit. 165 join new, whatever. I'm gonna call this join new too. Maybe I'm already in the system, and then send. Getting a 500. Maybe I deleted this form already, or what did I do here? Let's see. Simple webhook. Results. Oh no, it's actually, oh no, it's not in there. So now I'm having an issue here. Why is it a 500? You see, this always happens. Always, always, always when you're trying to test such a simple thing. And yet it's failing. I wonder why. Email, first name, form ID, and send. 500. Crazy. Okay, I'm not sure. Anyway, this is how you're supposed to post a form. I think I will make a tutorial about this. Last time when I did my live, exactly the same thing happened. I started to show around stuff and it didn't work. But today, I am very, very big believer that the main topic why I'm actually making this stream will actually work. Okay, so let's go back to the forms. So you can. The most important thing is that you are posting to the right attributes. Like I showed you, you can check it here in self-hosted, but you can also go here to fields, and then here you see exactly what is the attribute. So in this case, it's email. Let's look at this contact, by the way. Simple web form. Result. Yeah, this contact is not even in the system. I deleted myself. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna do something else today anyway. It's not about the posting the simple webhook, but the main topic is how to post to any webhook. So what I'm gonna show you today is a new plugin called Lasso. It's been in development for a very long time already, over half year, and I started it for Mautic 3. We contracted someone to do it, and they did an okay job, but I wasn't happy with the end result because it wasn't flexible enough. What I really wanted to have is a plugin where I can post any kind of information to any webhook, and I should be able to capture any webhook imaginable. And what do I mean by that? So what I mean by that is, if I come here and check how a webhook looks like actually for WooCommerce, for example, then you can see that the WooCommerce webhook is a huge webhook. It contains a lot of data. Like, this is in Hungarian, it doesn't matter, it's a real, actually it's semi-real. A webhook, you have an order key, which is a WooCommerce field. You have an ID, you have date created, you have shipping information. This is invaluable Hungarian money, 1,290, it's like €3. You have IP address, customer ID, you have some kind of email address here. It's, of course, it's a test. This is all test information. Then you have payment methods, like a bunch of things. And Mautic can take advantage of all of this data, because the good thing is that like WooCommerce can process the orders, but everything else, what happens afterwards, should be processed by Mautic. So you should be able to send a confirmation email or abandoned cart. Of course, you can manage this in WooCommerce as well, but you can have one coherent system inside of Mautic, and you can capture all this data, and you can, make campaigns that make sense, work together, and so on. But we have to get data in somehow. And many people use Anyten for that. Now, my problem with Anyten is that it's great, first of all. Like, I don't have a very big problem with Anyten, but it's another software to maintain. And just for capturing a webhook, I think this is an overkill. I think that's just, I'm not going to install an Anyten, so I capture a webhook, I do things there, and then afterwards I push the data to Mautic. It just doesn't make sense for me, just to keep for this only one reason. The other thing is, for me, it's very annoying how the testing goes in Anyten. I don't have enough information. I have almost, but actually I don't have all the information what I want when it comes to debugging. So we're gonna test with this real example of WooCommerce, but this could be actually anything else. It could be a Shopify, it could be whatever. If I would create a plugin, I would probably make sure that I'm looking for these specific values. If it would be a WooCommerce plugin, like specifically written for WooCommerce, like I would look for currency, I would look for text and so on, and I would match this with a very specific custom field inside of Mautic. And with my solution, what I wanted to avoid is that you are tied to fixed information. Let me explain it a little bit better. What we're gonna do here is, one second, I'm going to show you a, nope, this one. So what I wanted to show you is that, like, you can see this webhook example. What I want to do is I want to tell Mautic that, hey Mautic, this data here, this data created, should be saved as last purchase date inside of Mautic. This first key, Anna, should be saved as a first name. The last name, Kovacs, should be saved as last name. And email should be saved as email. So I'm basically mapping for Mautic in a way that I say that the mapping should be billing email should be email, billing first name should be first name. So I'm just pairing it together. The green is the Mautic stuff, the red is the incoming stuff. So it's just a simple mapping thing. So let's go back to our Mautic itself. Oops, that's the wrong one. Let's go back to our Mautic itself. So I'm gonna go back here. 1 second. Gonna go back here, and I created an example config for this. Actually, first I will show you how this whole thing works. You see, that's why it's so much better to do tutorials, because I don't have to waste time with explaining, jump between topics. Yeah, I think ADHD is not really my friend in this case. So let me show you first how the plugin works, and then I explain you how to map things. So when you first come to this plugin, then you have the created plugin. So far, I did some test cases here. And this is when you make a new webhook. So first you would give a webhook, you would make a name, like for example, let's say Shopify purchase. And then you give a webhook ID, Shopify purchase. And this webhook ID will be used as the link itself. So this is where what you're gonna give, like enter in Shopify to post to. And I'm gonna say processes incoming Shopify webhooks. Okay. I also created some template. I'm gonna show you that in a moment. And then you have some kind of configuration. And this configuration, what you can do is you can say that, like I showed you here, in this one, I have to say mapping, and then give all the data which I want to map. So if I'm going back here, it would be like, what was it exactly? Map, okay. So it should be like map, and then you open another one, and here you would say that in Shopify you have, let's say Shopify email, and that should be equivalent. That should be equivalent in Mautic as email, like this. And you have maybe Shopify first name should be equivalent in Mautic as first name. So if you run this, if you save this, then it will create an endpoint inside of Mautic where we call it Shopify purchase, and we can post to it. So we can use this here to post and this here to test I will explain that a little bit later, how the testing works. But this, I think, is enough to know. So if you would post this from Shopify, and this what I managed to, what I added here, the Shopify purchase is a good structure, then anything which the everywhere where the web hook payload contains Shopify email would be saved as email inside of Mautic. And by email, I mean this is a custom field. I also have some templates. So I have here already created a new order for WooCommerce, or new customer edit for WooCommerce, or type form. I even have gravity form. I have, MailChimp. When a new subscriber comes, I can override this. Like this is what MailChimp is sending. So this data. But we will go through this. Okay. So let's not save this one now, and I'm gonna delete my Shopify purchase because we're gonna talk about WooCommerce today. So let's see a very simple example. This is how WooCommerce is communicating the email, first name, last name, and here I have an extra field called date created because I also want to save the date last order. So if I go back to my Mautic, I had to create my date last order. And the one thing I don't like about custom solutions, which are not just very generic, of course they will set up everything for you, but what I don't like is that they start to create custom fields for you like there is no tomorrow. I've seen some WooCommerce plugins where they were just creating like 30 custom fields, and you would probably use maybe one of those. So I do not like that. So I want that to make a solution where I'm giving complete control to the users. Okay. Date last order, this one here, is what we're gonna use. I created this is just a number field, and we're gonna post to this via API. So if I go back to my webhooks and I go, maybe it's here. Yeah, if I go back here, then you see the alias, I don't know how to pronounce that, of the custom field, which is here. So let's go back to see one more time. This one here is gonna be filled with the information contained in the date created of our WooCommerce webhook. So this one will be saved essentially here. That's what this mapping does. That's all what it does. So let's save it, and we can test this. So this should be the webhook. So I go back here, fill it out. Let's make sure that we don't have this contact in the system, but I think I already deleted her, so we can have like a very clean slate. Just 1 second. I have a little bit less editing if I'm not showing personal information. Okay. So she's not in there. So we can test our webhook. Let's do a send. Amazing. We have 201 created, which is great, and we also see a webhook process successfully. So where is this information coming from? And there's, by the way, a contact ID. So if I go here and look for Anna, we see that she's created, which that's what we wanted. She purchased something in our WooCommerce store. So if I go back to my webhook management thingy, let's go here, lasso manage webhooks. So if I go back here, what I want to check if I really have the email, the first name, the last name, and the date last order. So let's go back, open this contact. and check it out. And indeed, we have the date lost order. We have her ID, and we also have her name and her email address. Perfect. So this actually worked out fine. What I asked before is, where is the success message coming from? Well, it's coming from here. We can say anything we want. We can also say just 200 okay, or thank you for watching YouTube, whatever. But the default is contact captured successfully. So that's why we see the success message here. Actually, the default is webhook processed successfully, but you can say whatever you want here using that field. Okay, so we already know how to map data. We could actually do something else as well. We could do the I don't know, order key, but I don't want to waste time with it. Let's do something else which is more fun. But you can, with the mapping, you can extend it as much as you want. So let's see something else. Let's go back to manage webhooks and let's see what is total orders. So this, now it starts to be interesting, because what N8N is doing is it can manipulate data, and that's really cool that you can change information. For example, here, what I'm intending to do with this format, I have here the calculate option, and in the calculation I'm saying operation add. I could have here something else too. I could have here deduct, multiply. It's all arithmetic operations are possible. And I can take a target and I can here change, like I am adding 1, or I'm adding 10, or I'm adding 100, or I'm adding, I don't know, multiplying by 2. I can do whatever I want with these numbers, which I just collected. Well, in this case, what I'm saying is a simple thing. I'm not even reading the webhook. I'm just saying total orders. I want to add 1 to total orders. So right now our contact doesn't even have a total orders value. So let's hope it works. So let's go and check out our second webhook. This is WooCommerce number 2 I created. Here we're gonna add 1 to the total order. So that's my webhook 2. Let's launch it. Now what happens is that it goes through a complete different path. It's not going through my webhook 1. So it's not like it's executing both. It's just executing my second one, because that's where I'm posting. So if you have a Shopify store, you have a WooCommerce store, you can post via different webhooks to the same place. So let's see if it worked. Let's refresh. Okay, so now we see that she has total orders 1, and she also has last order value. I think I added the last order value as well. I think, let's hope so. Yeah, exactly. So what I did, I added one more number here. The total in the mapping, the total what is coming in, it's also mapped to the last order value. So that's why we see it. So there's 2 change here. We changed something in the mapping, and we are incrementing this by 1. So if I would go back and I would do one more sale for her. So let's do one more sale. Click, goes through one more time, one more sale happened. Then probably we will be able to see the last order value, and we would be able to see the last order date. Yes, and she has now 2 total orders, which is great. But the last order value is not really helping me. I want to see the total order value here, because that's what makes sense. So I want to see this growing as well. But that's a different, that's a completely different manipulation of data. Like I actually have to add to this, not just add 1, but add the number which I'm also capturing. And this is where N8N is really good. But again, I don't want to use N8N. I just want to do everything here. So let's see how that works inside with this plugin. This is my third example here. So here the mapping is the same. I am updating her first name, last order value, date last order. I'm also adding 1 here to the total orders, but there's one more thing I'm doing here. And what I'm saying is I'm not updating by one, but I'm using this field to add. This is the format here. And I also do one more thing. I'm gonna divide the average purchase value. So I'm gonna divide the lifetime revenue by the average purchase to get, I'm gonna divide the lifetime revenue by the number of total orders to get an average purchase value. And this is updating every single time. So now if we run this third webhook, so I'm gonna go here, then we're gonna start seeing some really cool stuff happening. Let's go back and open her. Now we're really processing that webhook here. So what I see is that I have the last order value, I have an average purchase, I have a lifetime value as well. Well, this is new, it hasn't been adding yet. So this total order actually is kind of like, it shouldn't be because this is like the first order. So let's edit this to have a better overview. So let's pretend this was the first purchase, and let's do a second purchase with these settings. So with the processing the information. So now what we can see is that I have the last order value. I also have average purchase, which is equivalent because we're doing the same orders here, same value, total orders, and we also have a lifetime revenue of this person. So if I would make another purchase, which would be a smaller amount, let's say I could change it here, the equivalent field, which is somewhere here in the bottom. No, flat rate. Where was the total? Yeah, here. So if I would change this, let's say I make one purchase for almost 9,000. Gonna set this back though. So if I go back here, I'm gonna have a total different properly aggregated information about the average purchase value. You see the last order is different, average purchase different, lifetime is also adjusted. So let's go back and see one more time how it's done. So what you're saying here is operation add. This is what we're gonna target. So this is the field which we are updating with, taking the last order value and adding it to this one. And here we're targeting the average purchase, we're taking the lifetime revenue and dividing by the total orders. It's very, very modular. It's very easy to understand, easy to read. But if you're not sure, you can anytime just drop the plugin in Claude or any other AI, say that do this and this for me, and it's actually gonna throw out this type of JSON file. Now I want to talk a little bit at this point. I want to talk a little bit about the testing, the configuration, because I have here a testing button. So how does that work? So if you have a test payload, and like I said before, I really hate how the testing is happening in n8n. You can test in 3 different ways, because I think it's really important that the testing works fine. So that's why I made 3 different ways. The one of them is you can test a payload right here and say that, okay, this is my payload, run a test. So I want to see what happens. And it's going to give you a simulation result. So it's going to give you a result where it says it would update this contact. These are the fields and these are the calculations created. You can also see the whole log. Like what did it do with what, like how. So it really tells you if there is some kind of problem, you can find it really, really fast. So this is how you're running tests basically. The other way you can test is if you go back here and then you add test here. Then it's gonna create why I have internal server error? Okay, this doesn't work for some reason. It should be. I have to check this out. But it's basically generating you the same information like what it was testing, what it was giving you here. And then the third one is you can do debug. So you can debug equals true, and I'm not 100% that I'm gonna be able to show this to you now, but maybe I will. Yeah, I can show this to you, sorry. This is something I'm debugging right now, but actually in the debug, maybe later, maybe I have some ready debug stuff and I can show you that, but yeah, you see test should work like this, but it should be enough that there are basically 3 ways to test it. Let's see if it works now. No, yeah, it works, okay. I don't know, there was a typo before. So what happens here is that it gives you a dry run. It's a simulation, and it's gonna give you a little bit different breakdown of everything. So you can either test this inside of your Mautic, or you can ask through Postman, you can ask back a detailed description. Okay, so we did some pretty cool stuff here. This poor contact is like purchasing the same stuff over and over again. And we are nicely updating her data. So from this moment on, we can already create a couple of segments for this person. I can segment her based on average purchase. I can segment her on when she purchased last time, because I have the date last order. So if it's, let's say, after 30 days or 60 days or some kind of other average of number of days I'm looking to send a coupon, I can now do that. I can also target her based on her last purchase order value. I can create a tweak template and send her a specific coupon for trying to get a little bit higher average purchase value for her. So already these 3 little changes in the webhook is giving me amazing opportunities inside of Mautic. But there is more. Let's go back here to our webhooks and let's check out, it's our 4th example, and that's constant tags. Now, with the tags, you can start completely different journeys. The format is just simply constant tags, and then in array you're listing the tags you want to add to the person. So right now our test person doesn't really have, it has one segment membership but doesn't really have anything else. So we're gonna add now one more, not segment membership but tags. So this went through fine. So let's see what happened with her if we have also the routing for the tags. So now just simply some tags are added. So if you have contacts coming from different sources, this is a very good way to mark them in your system. So you can add the WooCommerce tag, you can add the pay tag or whatever you want. Maybe you have completely different webhooks for different stages in your purchasing process. So adding a tag like that is gonna help you your overall campaign performance or campaign structure, so to say. Oops, clicked on this. Okay, but sometimes you want to add tags based on other criterias, and the reason for that is that many marketers use WooCommerce's or in fact any other web shop tools built-in category feature. So maybe you want to have a categorization inside of your Mautic. Maybe you want to say that if someone buys, let's say, red wine, then they should get certain traffic or certain promotions. If they buy white wine, they should get something completely different. So how can we do that? And there is a built-in functionality for this. I'm going to show you how it goes. So let's go back to manage webhooks. I have dynamic tags. This is my tag. This is the 5th version I made. And here what I can say is that I want to capture the payment method dynamically. So let's look what the payment method is. If I'm going back here and scroll down, then I can see that my payment method is not here, cash on delivery. So it's called actually cash on delivery. Why is this important? Because I might send a complete different email to this person based on this tag. So I can say that when this tag is captured, I would send out an email and then remove the tag. But this here, this information has like carries for me big value because it helps me to create a complete different journey. Cash on delivery people would get a message that, hey, please have the exact change, or please make sure that the house number is written. Let's see how that works. So I'm gonna go back to my here, and this is number 5. So I'm gonna go here, change it to my WooCommerce number 5, send. Okay, it's processed. So let's check out Anna. What happened to her? Okay, so now we can see that she has a COD tag, and she also has this customer paid WooCommerce from before, but she also has a COD. And that's perfect. That's what we wanted. We wanted to make sure that the payload information is captured as a tag. And this tag didn't exist in Mautic yet. This is something created dynamically when the webhook was sent out. Okay. So let's talk about something else. There is one more aspect here that I can add the tag, but the tag, what does the tag do? So probably the tag will carry some information which helps me to differentiate the content to be sent to the contact during the customer journey. So if I see the COD tag, cash on delivery, I will send a different email in this journey. But how do I put them in the journey? So one way is, of course, I could use tags, but it's so much more comfortable to use segments. And if I can change the segment in the moment the webhook comes in, that's a game changer, because I right away push them into the segment. So I right away can start a campaign and I can send them the message what I want a lot faster. So this, I'm gonna show you, this is my 6th example here. So everything is the same, but at the end, I'm also adding constant segments. So constant segments is a feature that helps you to push people into a specific segment when the webhook is received. Let me check that segment here. I created one called training segment fresh buyers. It also has this alias, and this one here is used in my configuration. That's the same as this. That's very important. So once you change that, you would have to change this one as well. We're not looking for segment IDs. I made it based on this alias here. Okay, so I have no filter here because it's gonna be manual. So I'm manually gonna push in the people into this segment. Why would I do that? Because I created a campaign based on this. And my campaign works this way. It starts with the segment of fresh buyers. Actually, I don't know why I have the headset on, because there's no two-way communication here. So I have here the fresh buyers. So people are pushed into this segment, and right then I can check for a contact field value how many orders they had. So this would check if someone is a newbie. If someone is a newbie, I would send out the first email, and then I can also check for the date last order. Is it actually, it's less than, not greater, less than minus 30 days. So has been more than 30 days since they ordered last time. Actually, this one should. And here I wait 30 days. Yeah, like this. Okay, so I wait 30 days, then check if they ordered in the past 30 days. If not, then I would send a coupon. If yes, then I kick them out from the segment. So basically, this is just ensuring that if someone is a first-time purchaser, I try to reach out and make sure that they're ordering one more time. The reason for that is that in businesses which I work together with, I noticed that there's way too many people who just order once and never order again. So we try to convince them to order at least twice to create a habit, and this is what this branch is doing. If someone ordered more than once, then they go here, then I check for VIP who ordered more than twice, then I'm gonna send them a different message, and regulars I'm also sending just a regular message, and then everybody is like jumping back here to this one. Okay, so I can push people into the segment directly with this constant segment feature, which is really cool, because with this I'm ensuring that everyone goes through the same campaign once they completed the purchase. So let's go back to my contact, and right now she's only in this one segment, but let's push her in. This is my webhook number 6. So I'm gonna do webhook 6, send. Okay, success. And I can see that she's added to the training segment, fresh buyers. So for her, this whole process would go through. Great. Now we are at a point where we can change any, update any data. We can add, deduct, multiply, whatever with any data. We can even add two fields which we previously didn't have. We can grab them and multiply them. So we have full control over the data, what happens in calculations and mutations. We can also add as many tags as we want, segments. What else is missing? So the next one starts to be really interesting. This is number 7. We can save our data in a specific form. So what we can do is that we can say that, okay, but I want to save each and every purchase in a form. And I just took a couple of data out here. We will capture here the email address, the order key, and the total. So if I go back to my forms, I created a form called 157. So let's go in there, 157. I call it Woo Invoices. Let's see if I have any results. No? Great. I hope it's working because I was fixing it before starting this stream. No, not this one. 57. This one, Woo Invoices. No results. So, like I said, I have email, order key, and total in here. And I want to push everyone in here, in there. So, let's go back here and push in the data. Okay. I also have a success, and as you can see now, I also have a huge log. Why is that? Because I was actually doing a debug on this, and you can see this is something I mentioned before, that there's different ways to test your payload. And this debug, no, actually I need my webhooks, and I need saving form. Yeah, so as you can see, I added the debug on the bottom. If I delete this, then I don't have this nice long description of what exactly is updated and changed and mutated and so on. So how this works is that you have to use the order form, and then you say the form ID which you want to post to. Then the email path is like basically that's for understanding which field is the email. So that's why using email path here, and then you grab the email and then you can use it as the dollar email basically. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how you are mapping it together. So you take the form ID, then you say which is going to be the email because it's needed for identification, and then you post it for that specific contact. So let's see how that would work in this case. Oh, I actually did it, so now we're going to have to, but that's okay. Let's go back to our forms, components forms, and let's go 57, Woo invoices. I have 2 results, and as you can see, I did it twice. So I have the person's email, I have the order key, and I have the total. So this is a very neat way to save all incoming purchases. And if you don't want to start the campaign with a segment, which I mentioned before, that's okay too. You don't have to, because this campaign, this form can actually start the campaign in itself. So you don't need to, build a campaign and segment combination. You can already do the form. And the form is always starting the campaign faster. Actually, if you push someone in the segment, maybe it's the same fast. But yeah, you have different options here. You can send a form confirmation immediately or whatever. All the actions would work. Okay, great. Now, my only problem is that what I really want to work with is the specific products, what they purchased. And obviously, this is not easy if you have like 20,000 products. You cannot say that, like you cannot build rules for every single product. You also cannot, like, without AI. when I'm saying something, it's always without AI. But you can maybe do a category, or if you have few products, then it makes sense to save the product. So in this case, this lady has purchased organic honey, and I can save this information. And the same with the granola. So later, if I'm selling just 10 products or very few products, or that in a way that I can, for example, I have product names which can be grouped together somehow, then I can run specific campaigns on this. Like, for example, I can add them to notification about price changes or upcoming products, or I have a way to grab them and say anyone who purchased an organic honey before can now, receive an email. But for that, we need a separate form, and that would be like this one here, who purchases. I think I didn't delete this yet. Yeah, so I have a bunch of tests here, but let me show you how this is done. So I have here product name, product ID, product quantity, and product price. Now in the product ID, if I have a structure where I am keeping, for example, categories, and the product ID is also saved in this way in WooCommerce, then I can play, the two can play great together. So I can say that my organic line, for example, is org 005, and then I can filter later for this in my Mautic campaigns after saving everything in a form. So let me show you how that would look like. So I go back here, and I don't know if you realize, but now we have a challenge to save into 2 forms at the same time. But let's just do one at that point. So let's do here. Let's just try to save each individual product purchased in this one form. So in that case, I have 2 line items. I have the organic honey and I have the granola. I have to save them both. So I need to cycle through this. And we can do that. If I go back here, then it's called fan out to form. And I can give the form ID, and I would enter the items path, which is here the line items. So what Mautic is doing is looking at the line items variable, this one here, and cycle through that. And you can see it here that of course it would take the billing email as the purpose of, like, the means of identifying this contact. And then I just have to field map it together. So for the email, which is in my form here, this is the other one, sorry. Let's go back to this one. So the email field, which is this one, product name, product ID. So here I have product name, product ID. So I'm basically taking the same thing. So whatever is here in WooCommerce, I'm saving like this in Mautic. Okay, and I have no debug on this one. So let's run. Let's see how that works. This was my WooCommerce 8. Okay, done. So let's see what happened to my fields with my form. So as you can see, it took both products and separated them. I purchased 2 from the granola, and I purchased one from the granola and 2 from the honey. So later in my Mautic filters, I can look for this information because there are certain filters which can check out forms, especially in campaigns. So I can actually filter out people who have purchased the organic honey and make a decision in the campaign builder decision tree. But now I didn't populate the other one, the Woo invoices. So the Woo invoices saves the flat information, just one number that, okay, it's been, we spent so much on this order, but not the individual products. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna combine these two, and luckily we can do that as well. That's gonna be my 9th example, and there's one more to go. It's called the multiform posting. You see our JSON is growing really nicely. And here I just combined the two. So I have the fan out form, and I also have the order form. So as you can see, they're playing really nicely together. So I can make a post at the same time to both forms. So let's do that. And here I have debug turned on. So we're gonna see here a detailed description what happened to this contact. So you can see all the information here, calculations, then post calculation, then fan out, form submission, other forms submitted, and everything went well. And no outbound webhook. Great. So let's see how that looks here in my forms. So we're gonna see one more time. Edit, the same thing. It's interesting that the order is different. I don't know why. And we can see also the other one. And this is the last order what I just did. It's already 205. Great. So now there's just one more thing to do. Well, there's many things to do. Of course, it would be lovely if this whole builder would be not a JSON file, but it would be some kind of visual builder. But the thing is that in Anytime you also, like, yes, sure, you have visual builder, but do you really, if you're professional, do you really use the visual builder? Like you work with JavaScript a lot. So I think that keeping it as a JSON right now, at least until this plugin matures, it's gonna be just a JSON at the moment. But there is one more thing which I think we have to do, and that's creating a webhook. So there is such an option that we are setting off an outbound webhook after we did everything else. So basically what Mautic does is it's gonna update the contact, do the calculations, post on forms, add the segments and the tags, and at the end takes everything like in a way how you want it and post it to an outside webhook. Now, this wasn't really working for me before. This wasn't working today when I tried, but basically what it should do, I will fix it after this stream. But basically what it should do, it should take the data what you collected in the webhook and then post it in another format, and that's also extremely cool. Like you can pre-chew the data for any other tool you are using. You can right away push some data into Calendly if you want. Okay, or you can post to N8N or whatever, another tool what you are using. I think this is not gonna work, but we can test the configuration, just that it would work, because it didn't work for me before. But let's try to do a test. Okay. Yeah, it says that technically it would create this webhook. Well, I don't think it would do that, but technically that's what it should do. I can see that the simulation is not 100% okay. Like the form submissions, the 157 is not visible here. So there is still improvement for this plugin. Okay. Yeah, so that's what the plugin can do at the moment. You can also publish, unpublish these webhooks. And right now it lives as a new menu item. There is lots of improvements still to be done. I'm going to do some beta testing with anyone who is interested. I will send the plugin and you can test it out and make your own comments. Tell me about the use cases you imagine. Or you can tell me, hey, there is a bug somewhere, or whatever needs further improvement. I know that I also have to check to make it more secure. But in general, you can really run a WooCommerce operation on this for sure. And I'm also testing it with Shopify. So I hope that it will be addition to your marketing stack, and it would be a great addition to Mautic. And you wouldn't need to use N8N just because you are unable to capture webhooks. And I'm aware of that. You can have Ubuntu webhooks also installed on your server, but that's an extra setup. And installing this plugin is really just add it and go. So it's pretty simple. Okay, I think that's it for today's stream, and I hope I can make these streams more regularly and maybe more people show up so we can have an actual conversation. If you liked it, please give me a feedback either here in the comments, and if you want to have this plugin in the current version, please also write to me at joeykeller.com. or in the comments, and I will reach out to you. I think that's it for today, and keep an eye on my newsletter. I'll try to schedule the next one for either Friday, which is going to be probably religious holiday next week. No, it's in 2 weeks. So either it's going to be next week on Friday or Thursday. We will see how I will have time to do it. Thank you so much again, and yeah, I'll see you soon.